Hi, my name is Jessica Brumley, and I am going to be analyzing this article entitled Headscarves in the Headlines. What does this mean for educators? And it was written by Sapna V. Tagar, who works at the University of Michigan Flint. And to aid us in our analysis process, I'm going to be referencing the template for analyzing the logic of an article. And it's a very handy template if you ever need to analyze. So let's just get started. The first thing that I'm going to be talking about is the major purpose behind this article. The article is a study to supplement other studies that have been done on the multicultural classroom and the importance of adapting learning, broadening learning strategies in order to fully encompass all the cultures represented in the American classroom. The author of this article does this by identifying 3 different teaching strategies in response to different diversity that will determine their effectiveness in the multicultural classroom. So the key question that this author is addressing is how will each of these teaching methods effectively engage the students of the multicultural classroom? So how can each of these strategies improve upon themselves, or how can teachers in general address the ever-expanding multicultural element of education in America? So from this article, we see that all strategies are not equal, in that there are some of these strategies that are immensely more effective than others. One of the biggest things that I pulled from this article is that immigration is on the rise in America, whether some people like that or not. And actually a statistic from this article says that immigration will increase the population of the United States from its present 288 million to more than 400 million within the next 50 years. And from that we can gather that it's no longer a question of whether the multicultural classroom will become important in American education systems. It is just a matter of how far we are willing to extend its reach, how engaged we are willing to be with this international multicultural element of the classroom. And that's probably the largest conclusion, is that this immigration process, which has somewhat provided foundation for America throughout history, whether that immigration process will flourish is not a question. It is that will we be able to appropriately adapt our teaching strategies to meet that? There are a couple key things, key concepts that are important to this article, and these are the 3 strategies that each of the different teachers that were interviewed used. And so the first one is called the colorblind approach. It is effectively the understating of cultural dissimilarity, incongruencies, and emphasizing the idea that students are going through the same basic problems. They're at the same age in their lives, and they should not have any distinction in terms of teaching strategy. So effectively, they should all be taught the same, no matter what culture they're from. The second is the cultural deficit approach, which was taken on by an older teacher in this article, a teacher that was very, very grounded in her patriotism and her appreciation for American culture. The cultural deficit approach It's more a conforming approach than anything else, wanting the students of different cultures to conform to American ways with language and customs, more appreciation for American religion, religious systems rather, holidays, etc., and not as much focus on the other culture element that they left from the culture they immigrated from. And then the third is the social action approach. And this is more on the teacher. The teacher needs to have prerogative to actively engage with students, asking them about their culture, gaining a better appreciation, admitting when they don't understand or don't know that much about another culture, and then pushing that to a greater purpose, in that there's an emphasis placed on cultural awareness within the American education system. So a better understanding of how cultures relate with one another, and how culture influences learning. And so with those three different approaches in mind, we come down to a rather large assumption that permeates this article, and it is that every single classroom will have to deal with these issues. Now, from personal experience, my high school was very lacking in cultural diversity and ethnic diversity, and the multicultural classroom was not a large element at my high school, because the majority of the students were white, grew up in that county, and had been going to county schools for their entire lives. And so not every classroom is dealing with these issues. However, with the trends that have been set in immigration, they will become more and more prevalent in American education systems. So now we're going to think about this article in terms of a logical line of reasoning. So if we agree or disagree with that line of reasoning, to what end, what will occur. If this line of reasoning is followed, if we take this reasoning seriously, then Americans, especially American educators, will place greater emphasis on multicultural elements of the classroom, modifying lesson plans so that students of other cultures have a greater appreciation for the topics that teachers are trying to discuss, and most likely it will provide students of different cultures with a greater understanding of the lesson, and further engage students, maybe more so than has been experienced in the past. If we in fact disagree with this line of reasoning, and we believe that this isn't necessarily a hot button issue, students will become less and less relatable to educators, and vice versa. It'll be more and more difficult for teachers to tweak lessons and further engage students of different cultures, just because there's no foundation of common understanding. The universality of human experience is there, but the way in which the teacher is trying to present it will have fault. Lastly, it is important to note that this point of view from this article is focusing heavily on the future. It's a present to future model, in that the author is trying to push ideas that will propel American education systems forward in very important ways. America owes it to itself to appreciate the flourishment of culture, the flourishing of cultures, and really the beauty that is multiculturalism, the embracing of all cultures, and using those different perspectives to create a greater appreciation for education and the topics that the teacher is trying to present. And that is my article analysis. Again, for the article entitled Headscarves in the Headlines, what does this mean for educators rather. My name is Jessica Brumley, and thank you very much for listening.